All right, good evening, gentlemen, gentlewomen, gentle people, our distinguished guests. I am so excited to be here with you today. My name is Aswood Bouseau. I am a faculty member at Rhode Island College School of Social Work. I also am the Secretary of Hope and Change for Haiti. So I am excited to be here with you this evening. And I'm also super excited that you're here, even though we're a small in number, but we're a mighty bunch, celebrating the 6th Annual International Women's Day, International Women's Day, here at Hope and Change for Haiti. And this year's theme is Embracing Equity. And I think in a world that, as we understand the impact of COVID in just the last couple of years, we see the disparities that exist, right, in communities, in different settings. I think it's even more important of this year's theme of embracing equity. And so that's the reason that we're all here on this Friday evening. So I'm excited to be here with you. For Hope and Change for Haiti, if you are not familiar with the work that we do, we do a lot of work in the Rhode Island community around advocacy, services for women, for children, and we also, as our name says for Haiti, do additional work in Haiti as well, supporting children, supporting education. And so our goal is to not only embrace the needs back home, but in our new home here in Rhode Island. So so part of the work that we do is really around education, around support, and recently we did a training around mental health, which again, coming from COVID is something that is really important. So, and this has been a tradition, we've been doing this since before COVID. We had a couple of years where we did it on Zoom, but we are excited to be back at the State House to celebrate International Women's Day. So our agenda for today, we have some women doing some excellent things in our community that we would like to honor today and have a chance to hear from them today. But we would first off like to start with some music, something to kind of inspire us, right? So we will start with Carine Paul, who is here to bless us with her presence.
Good evening. I'd like to dedicate this song to the honorees and anyone in this room who have had those days where a sleepless night, maybe skip meals just to get to where you are or where you're going.
Was beautiful. She's a superwoman. She's a fellow social worker, a mom, a wife, busy all the time. So that was beautiful. Thank you. Thank you that was a wonderful way to start us off. I really appreciate that. Wow, that's kind of hard act to follow. She left me here to fend for myself after all of that. All right, so I would like you to help me to welcome Aniece Germain. She is the Executive Director of Hope and Change for Haiti. She's also a councilwoman, and much like Carine, she's a mom and a superwoman. She is everywhere around the state advocating for those who cannot advocate for themselves or who need that additional help all the time. So please help me in welcoming Aniece Germain.
Good evening. It's really a joy to be here every year to celebrate, not only to celebrate, but to reflect as well on women's movement, on women's struggle, on women's achievements. And Hope and Change for Haiti, since its inception, we started to come here to celebrate. And we miss a lot of our friends who cannot be here. You know, with COVID, everything has changed, but I want to thank you all for being here this evening. I want to thank Lieutenant Governor Sabina Matos, Secretary of State Gregg, Amore, and we know Congressman Seth Magaziner is on his way to come to celebrate. Those are really people who are always there for us to celebrate with us. And this year is very special, where the theme is Embrace Equity. And we know we always talk about equality. Equality is so important to us. But now we are asking for something more. Because when we see what is going on in our country, in our world, and mostly what is going on in our community of color, we see equality is not enough. And that's why the movement now is for equity. So for those of you, what is equity? So I would say just, when you have a pie, for example, you have it, equal parts, that's equality. You get each one like 1/3, that's equality. Equity is, okay, if I gave Lieutenant Sabina Matos 1/3 of the pie, do those 1/3 of the pie is enough to satisfy her needs? So we are looking at the needs. What you gave me, is that enough for me? Because we all have different upbringing, and what can satisfy you will not satisfy me because of our different circumstances, different ways, our environment. And that's why we ask our allies to look at equity lens when they address the issue that impacted mostly women and women of color. So thank you for being here tonight, this evening, and to celebrate us. We come far from, 200 years, 400 years, and 100 years since we celebrate like women's right to vote, right? 1920. And still, some of us are still behind. We do not have equal pay, right? We are looking for equal pay. But now what we are asking is, see, whether it's education, whether it's a training in your workplace, is it 1 month enough for this person, or if 2 months need for that person, right? So that's why we are looking at right now, because, culturally we are different. Economically, our status, where we come from, those are the differences we need to take into consideration when we want to solve the problem, the issue we face. So we have speakers coming to talk today about this theme, equity. But before we have our speakers come to talk to us, to share with us their remarks, I want to recognize our Lieutenant Governor Sabina Matos, who will share with us some of the theme in the theme today. But I know she prepared something. She cannot wait for the whole thing, but I would like welcome her right now to share with us. Hello.
Welcome. Thank you. Thank you so much, Councilwoman. Thank you so much for always making sure that we acknowledge International Women's Month in the contributions that women give to the state of Rhode Island and to this nation and to the world. I'm honored to have this opportunity to welcome all of you to the state of Rhode Island, to the Capitol, and to this building, which is your building. So thank you for being here and for joining. I want to say thank you to Congressman Magaziner. Thank you for joining as Secretary of the State of Amore. Thank you so much for being here. It's always a pleasure to be with you. I'm thrilled also to join Hope and Change for Haiti in every event that they do. But when I was told about this one, and with the topic, the theme that is how we can move from equality to equity, I was even more excited to join. This is a conversation that we'll continue to have over and over. And when it comes to women, to female, I can probably ask you how many of you have been told, wait, you're not ready, you need to wait your turn, right? If I ask everybody to raise your hand, we're gonna see several hands of women that go through this. This happened to us in the workforce. This happened to us even when we're volunteering. When we volunteer for events, for any in the community events, to take a leadership role, many times you are told you're not ready to be leading the organization, right? This is something that women we face over and over again. It is about time that we get our right place, and we should have women represented in leadership positions at least 50% or more in every area that goes from nonprofit, politics, and business. We have to make sure that we have women's represented more than 50%. And if we go to the theme of equity instead of equality, there are many jobs, many areas, many fields in which we should have women be in the majority actually, because we have to address the equity issues that we've been having for many, many years. When you think about women that decide to run for office and to get into politics, when you look at the local level, how many of the local elected officials are females? Most of the time we start at the local level, and that's how we move up into the political leadership positions. How long is it going to take us for building that bench, right? Starting early on at the local level until we're going to have enough representation, and we can have the general officers of the state of Rhode Island to be more than just one female, like is the case right now. I'm the only female. So we should be more conscious about what it takes for us to build the representation that we deserve. And in order to get that, to see that happening, we have to use equity in order to get more women representing us in different leadership positions. So thank you so much for allowing me this opportunity. And I see Governor Daniel McKee have joined us right now. So I just I'm not gonna let the governor sit down. I'm gonna have to come to the podium and greet all of you for this celebration that Open Change from Haiti is doing to recognize International Women's Month and Day. So,
Okay.
Governor,
Yes.
Mike is yours.
Thank you, Lieutenant Governor. I'm just standing by. I saw something happening in the stateroom, so I said, well, I gotta go find out what's going on. And I found out. So thank you so much for being here and celebrating again Hope and Change for Haiti and International Women's Day as well. So all very important to the state of Rhode Island. I keep on saying, we got 39 cities and towns, and everyone's important. All the communities that make up Rhode Island are really important as well. So thank you for being here today, and I'm going to kind of hit the road because I'm scheduled to go somewhere else. But thank you so much for having me and botch the party, so to speak.
You extend the citation. Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Definitely.
Yes.
Breaking it up.
So she's on her way today, and thank you for the citation.
Great. Where do you live? Chris, well, congratulations to you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for that. Say hello. Enjoy. Does that sound
All right. It's always nice to have somebody crash the party, right? All right. Well, we'll continue on. Even though we had our special guest, that was really exciting. So our next person will call up for some welcome remarks. We are excited to have you to this evening with us. Our Congressman Seth Magaziner.
Good evening, everyone. I am so excited to be here for a number of reasons. So, first of all, officially, happy International Women's Month to everyone who is here. This month is a time for us to redouble our efforts to ensure that we break down the barriers that hold women back in our society, and that we celebrate those who are achieving despite those barriers. I'm excited also to be here for Hope and Change for Haiti, which Aniece and Norley and the team have really built something incredible. It is not just about supporting the people of Haiti, though that is an important and worthy cause. This has grown into an organization that lifts people up in Rhode Island, across our state, in so many different ways, and this is yet another example. So thank you, Aniece, and the entire Hope and Change for Haiti team for all that you do. But I also had to be here because one of my favorite people in Rhode Island is the honoree tonight. Gazmine Mason is an inspiration, and not only is an incredible bowler, but is so much more than that. Those of you who know Gigi knows that she is also where do I start? A TV star, a mentor, a nonprofit founder, someone who has devoted, I don't know how she finds the free time, but has devoted her time to helping advance others, particularly women of color, in the sport of bowling and in other non-traditional sports. And she is someone who has overcome great obstacles to achieve great things. And I am so proud to have her in our state, in our community, and to call her a friend. So I think this is a tremendous choice, because it is an example, once again, of the great things that women and girls can aspire to, despite the obstacles, and with the support of the communities around them, including Gigi's wonderful family, who is here as well. So to everyone, congratulations. It is an honor to be here with you today. And let's all redouble our efforts to help lift up women and girls across our state and our country, so that everyone can achieve their full potential and live out their dreams. Thank you very much, everybody. And citation for you as well.
You know, I really appreciate what you said, Congressman, about, helping people lift our potential. I think, in our communities, there are often lots of kids, boys, girls, who have lots of potential, right? But then they need that extra support, right? The folks who volunteer at the community centers, the folks who are who volunteer at their school, to kind of help them to achieve that next level. So very well said. I really appreciate that. That's very important. Next, I would like to welcome, and please help me welcome, our Secretary of State, Gregg.
Good evening. It's really nice to be here. I want to acknowledge my colleagues in government, and I can tell you, since I spent so much time with Congressman Magaziner and Lieutenant Governor Matos, and Councilwoman Germain, I can tell you that they consistently fight for the rights of women and girls, and they consistently fight for the rights of families and equity. And so it's an honor to be here with them today. I'm also looking forward to listening to Gretchen, who is incredibly impressive. Gigi, I just got to learn more about you, and the Department of State has a citation for you as well. Congratulations. We're at a time in history where women's rights are in the balance around the world and here at home. And we need to acknowledge that, and we need to do all we can to push back as much as we can as a community. That's directly connected to the area I spend most of my time talking about, and that's the health of our democracy. It can be argued that women helped stem the tide and save our democracy in the last midterm election. And I think that's a difficult argument to challenge, to tell you the truth. So I always want to acknowledge Councilwoman Germain's efforts with Hope and Change for Haiti. We met each other a few years back and bonded quickly, and I'm always honored to be here. Tonight's speakers and honorees are excellent examples of how women are leading in government, in the nonprofit sector, in athletics, and all across society. And so it's an honor for me to be here tonight. Thank you.
All right, so now to get to hear a little bit more about our special guest this evening. So we are going to get ready to have our citation ceremony. So first I want to tell you a little bit about Gigi. Gigi Mason is a professional bowler, a 4-time Olympic gold medalist, and the first African American to win the singles in all events gold medals for Team USA. She is a 2-time member of the Junior Team USA, 2016 and 2015, and a 2-time member of the adult team in 2021 and 2020. She currently possesses 2 Professional Women's Bowling Association regional titles. This is the new age, so I'm reading from a phone, so bear with me if it sounds a little bit off. Technology, it saves us. Gigi was born in Providence, Rhode Island. She is a former University of Nebraska Lincoln bowling standout who graduated with a degree in business administration and a minor in informatics. During her tenure at UNL, Gigi's team captured the 2015 NCAA National Championship and made 4 consecutive trips to the finals. Please help me welcome Gigi Mason.
Yes, Alicia. I'm gonna give it to you. You stand up right here. Okay. You wanna come? You wanna take a picture with everybody? So we're gonna read this. We have U.S. Senator Jack Reed, Congressman Cicilline, Governor McKee, and this one, Congressman. Yes,
Secretary of State.
Secretary of State.
And Lieutenant Governor.
Lieutenant Governor. So you are, yes.
Wow.
Let me read.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll read first one, okay? This is from Congressman Magaziner. So certificate of special congressional recognition presented to Gazmine Mason in recognition of contributions to and achievement in the sport of bowling. Given this 3rd day of March 2023, Member of Congress, Congressman Seth Magaziner.
Thank you.
So you wanna give it to her?
Thank you.
All right, so this one is, you wanna give it? Okay.
All right. To Gazmine Mason on the occasion of Hope and Change for Haiti, reflecting and celebrating Women's International Women's Day event. On behalf of the state of Rhode Island, I offer my sincere gratitude and appreciation for your outstanding achievement of professional bowling. As the only female bowler of color on the Professional Women's Bowling Association and the Professional Bowlers Association, you set a profound example of fortitude, drive, resilience for young girls across the country. I wish you continued success. Congratulations.
All right, so you have all of them, you can read them at home.
We'll be here all night.
Yeah, so
I want to hear from you. Yeah.
So her parents can come take a picture with her with you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Your mom and dad in the middle?
Yeah, what do I do? Come in the middle. Come in the middle. You guys, you don't have to sacrifice.
My mom, Danielle, and Daniel.
Okay, me now.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Okay, now we have the microphone. Okay.
to thank God for allowing us all to be gathered at this event at this exact moment. I want to thank my parents for showing up as they always do. I love you guys so much. Thank you, Hope and Change for Haiti, for this nomination and everyone who put this together and what you guys do in general. So, as you heard in the introduction, I go by Gigi, my real name, Gazmine Mason, and I'll explain like the meaning of Gigi later in the speech. So, I was born and raised in Rhode Island, and I never would have thought that coming from the smallest state in the country that I would have achieved some of the things that I have. Recently, and I'm going to tell you a quick story. So recently I was told that a young black boy in our state, he felt because of the color of his skin and because he was from Rhode Island that he didn't think he would be as successful in athletics. And I also heard he hasn't heard as much of me as I feel like he should. Also too because I'm a black woman and I'm from the state of Rhode Island. So I say to this little boy and all of us here that I respectfully disagree, and this is why. So I honestly never thought I was going to be a professional bowler. When I was younger, I thought I was going to be like a rapper or a basketball player. I don't know why. But I did. When I was introduced to the sport of bowling, my parents and I were told that we could get college scholarships. We had no idea that was offered for bowling. So I started bowling at the age of 10 and I never gave up. Of course, because I'm here with you guys today. So everyone hears and sees all the accomplishments, but few know of the last place champ trophy that I received when I was 12 years old. So imagine if I ended bowling right there. It would have been like the shortest 2-year career, and I'm just glad that I kept growing. So we fast forward, and I ended up getting many college offers, signing with the University of Nebraska, go Cornhuskers, and I received a free education. So I want to give a shout out to my coaches, Coach Marty, aka Moody, and Coach Monica. They were the ones who introduced me to the sport. They started a bowling league, the Providence Center Juniors, and we actually have one of the junior bowlers right here, aka They started the league to get inner city kids like myself off the streets to give us something productive to do. Growing up in that league, it was a predominantly black league, so it wasn't really until I traveled outside Rhode Island, competing in different tournaments, where I was like, whoa, like, things look completely different. I remember when I was younger, I remember saying, like, where are all the black people? And just because it was opposite of what I was used to seeing. So throughout my journey, my parents have equipped me to be the only one until I'm not the only one anymore. At the University of Nebraska, I was the only black woman on the team for 4 years. I've been the only black woman on the PWBA tour for the past 3 years and the only active Afro-American on the men and women's tour combined. But I'm definitely working towards changing that. So in 2017, I created a group called Black Girls Can Bowl 2, BGCB2 for short, and that was really created out of frustration, but I created it to bring and to highlight and recognize black women or women of color in the sport who are underrepresented. In 2018, I started my company called Got Game, which is actually where Gigi comes from, like, Gigi Got Game, okay. And that was given to me by Coach Marty, aka Moody. So Got Game's mission is to promote and elevate the sport of bowling so that we have equal opportunities as traditional sports, basketball, football, tennis, and so on. Seeing that people would reach out to us for help, I wanted to create something that would be more impactful to many. So in 2021, I created the Gazmine Mason Foundation to foster education, health, and nutrition to under-resourced youth and individuals through the sport of bowling. We have programs that are helping kids all over the country, providing them with educational resources and access, helping build self-esteem, dismantle mental limitations, building an inclusive community, and building camaraderie. One program in particular is the BGC2 exclusive experience, where 5 women of color were hand-selected to train with myself and multiple Hall of Famer Coach Kim Terrell-Kearney. In the bowling world, to put it in perspective, she's like the LeBron James of, so a lot of the girls are excited. She's the head coach of North Carolina A&T. Last year was our first year and it was very successful. The 5 women who attended, they learned something new that they weren't previously exposed to, and that's why the Gazmine Mason Foundation exists. With this program, we hope more women of color will feel more confident going out there and competing wherever they are in their journeys. So currently, I'm continuing to promote Got Game, where we have merchandise and services, including inspirational speaking, where I just share my story to kids, adults, families, and my mission is never become a professional bowler. I mean, if you want to, I'm here for it, but but it's really just to pursue whatever you're passionate about and to not give up no matter what. And a side note is many people in middle school, even my tech teacher, they made fun of me because I would choose bowling practice over going to the mall or to the movies. And some of them have reached out throughout the years and they've seen me on TV doing these different things. Like, I'm glad you never, you didn't listen to us. And I'm like, I'm glad I didn't either. So, I'm also currently seeking sponsorships and endorsements like other professional athletes in mainstream sports and funds for the Gazmine Mason Foundation to provide, like you said before, access and resources to the kids in the sport of bowling. The Gazmine Mason Foundation has programs for all backgrounds, and I believe with the support of each other, we'll put the kids and individuals in positions to succeed. To circle back to that young boy, I hope my story has inspired you and everyone listening to this. It doesn't matter the color of your skin or what your interests are, but just don't quit despite of the adversity you may face along the way. Again, imagine if I quit 2 years into my bowling career. Lastly, I just want to thank the Rhode Islanders. I think as Rhode Islanders, we exude hope, persistence, resilience, and love. And although some of you may have not heard of me, or maybe you have, or maybe you haven't heard me as much as you should, I guess. In due time, I feel like the whole world will know who Gazmine Gigi Mason is, and I will make all of you proud, including the rest of Rhode Island. So if anyone knows anyone who can help my parents and I, with partnerships for the foundation or myself, don't hesitate to reach out. And once again, I want to thank you all for this honor, and I appreciate everyone for being here. Thank you.
Gigi, that was a beautiful speech. Y'all keep leaving me in the dust today. I have to keep following these strong women coming up here and sharing such wonderful news. All right, so I am excited. I'm excited to hear about you. I only heard about you recently, but I am, you're becoming my favorite bowler. So, all right, so let's see. Look at that, you have me flustered. I have to figure out where I am on my calendar. All right, our next guest speaker this evening is Gretchen Raffa. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly.
You did.
I did, yes. All right, she is the Vice President. Yes?
Yep.
Okay. The Vice President in Public Policy, Advocacy, and Organizing for PPSNE. She is responsible for the public policy, government relations. What's that?
You don't have to say all that.
Okay. She's the. Can I tell you what I love most about celebrating International Women's Day? Having a bunch of beautiful, strong women. I'm ready to go.
No, I just didn't want to make you read all of that because bios are just bios. Hi, y'all. Hi. Hello. It's so great to be with you. My name is Gretchen Raffa, and yes, I am the Vice President of Public Policy, Advocacy, and Organizing with Planned Parenthood Votes, Rhode Island, which is the advocacy political arm of Planned Parenthood of Southern New England. For those of you that don't know, Planned Parenthood of Southern New England is a healthcare provider and educator, which provided sexual and reproductive health care to almost 9,000 Rhode Islanders last year at our Providence Health Center. And we believe that all people should have access to quality, affordable health care as a basic human right, as well as the ability and resources to make their own healthcare decisions with dignity, regardless of who you are, where you live, your insurance status, your immigration status. And I have to tell you, I'm just so honored to be here today celebrating International Women's Day. And I want to start with just a big thank you to Aniece. Thank you so much. I could go on and on about my first long conversation with Aniece, but really want to say thank you because you have been such an incredible partner and I'm going to say thought partner to me and just a friend to me in the last year. I am from Connecticut, so I'm not an official Rhode Islander, but I have spent the last year learning everything and anything I can working in Rhode Island, and I feel like an honorary Rhode Islander. So I'm really excited to be here, and Aniece is one of the people that have just welcomed me as I've worked in the state. And I think it's really telling because partnership is really what it will take for us to move forward in the fight for reproductive freedom and justice for all people. You know, together we can strengthen our relationships within and across our communities, build new connections, and invest in leadership of people most impacted by the injustices that we're all working to address. And the theme really is telling this year and really embracing equity. When I read that this was the theme this year, it's timely for those of us that are working in the reproductive health rights and justice movement, because the reality is in a post-Roe America, we are determined to help build a movement that really centers health equity and paves a path forward for a future where all people can control their own bodies, their own lives, and their future. I think y'all know what happened in the past year, but the abortion rights that were affirmed by Roe v. Wade 50 years ago were stolen from us last year. But really, Roe was never enough. It was always the floor, not the ceiling, because it never guaranteed access for all people that need an abortion. And it really set up an equitable system of reproductive health care access. And over time, lawmakers were more emboldened and steadily pushed forward harsher abortion restrictions and policies like the Hyde Amendment, which is a racist and discriminatory policy that put abortion out of reach for millions, even under the legal rights that was affirmed in Roe v. Wade. And even in our own state, although the legal right is protected, hurdles like distance, money, being able to take time off of work, and other restrictions have stood in the way of people's health, which is why it's so critical that our work moving forward must be intersectional. Access to care has never been more vital in this country. 1 in 3 women of reproductive age in the United States and more trans and non-binary people no longer have access to abortion in their state because 18 states have either fully banned or severely restricted abortion in the past year since, not even a full year, since the Dobbs decision. But the truth is, wealthy individuals and those with resources and power will always be able to access abortion, and the communities most harmed by these bans are the same communities that are already facing financial barriers to accessing healthcare because of this country's legacy of systemic racism and discrimination. The harmful effects of these abortion bans really do stretch far beyond abortion care too. It's now more difficult for people to get life-saving medical care for miscarriages, for ectopic pregnancies, and other pregnancy-related complications. And we know that these lawmakers who are threatening access to abortion and reproductive health, they're working towards a much broader agenda to roll back our rights as women, as people from marginalized communities, from accessing not only birth control, but gender-affirming care, LGBTQ+ rights, voting rights, and more. So that's why our solutions to these, to what we're facing and responses to the rolling back of our rights really must be rooted in equitable action. It's important to remember that we can't just rely on the courts to achieve reproductive freedom, because abortion rights and justice can only be achieved when all women, femmes, girls, trans people, non-binary people, and gender-conforming people have the complete economic and social power to make healthy decisions about their bodies, their families, and communities in all areas of their life. And we know again that the right to abortion is protected here in Rhode Island, but our essential freedoms and our bodily autonomy should not and cannot depend on where you live. So as we move forward, we must demand more than legal rights when we are fighting against this inequitable and unjust system that strips away our reproductive rights and works further to criminalize pregnancy outcomes, which is a direct result of white supremacy. A system that bans abortion, yet doesn't give people the resources they need to have healthy pregnancies
and birth outcomes, which has created a reality in our country where Black women are more than 3 times more likely to die from pregnancy-related causes than white women. A country where women were facing baby formula shortages and parents couldn't get baby formula. That's a reality that too many parents face in this country, and that parents don't have the necessary resources to care for their families and allow their families to thrive. Because the truth is, abortion is an economic issue for pregnant people and their families. Forcing people to have children really makes them take on additional financial responsibilities. Because when people are denied the freedom to access abortion or birth control, they're denied the freedoms to make decisions about their own lives and their future. And that's why we are so excited to continue to work at Planned Parenthood, along with our reproductive rights champions in the legislature, in the administration, our community and coalition partners, and really fight to ensure that all Rhode Islanders can access abortion care and comprehensive reproductive health care, and finally pass the Equality Abortion Coverage Act this year, so that the legal right that's protected in state law is actually more accessible to the people that need it. During this legislative session and beyond, in the fight for reproductive freedom, we need to recommit to working alongside our partners, including independent abortion funds like WEF, independent abortion providers, and reproductive justice organizations, because it really is going to take all of us, well-resourced and working together to not only secure our rights, but give all people the resources they need to thrive. The path ahead is really challenging. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, and it's not going to happen quickly. But the good thing is, it's actually a time for us to reimagine what is possible for our communities and dream bigger. A vision for a just future that centers those historically left behind will actually create a more equitable healthcare landscape for all, where everyone who wants abortion access can get it. And when we continue, and what we will promise, and I will promise as Planned Parenthood, is that we're going to continue to learn from our past. And we're no longer going to isolate conversations about abortion from the broader dialogue around reproductive and maternal health. Because we can't talk about the right to abortion without talking about the right to have children, be able to parent your children in healthy and sustainable communities. And we must recognize that many intersecting issues that impact people's ability to have full bodily autonomy and agency over our own lives is essential. We need comprehensive solutions to what women and pregnant people need. Abortion cannot be separated from other social justice issues, like racism as a public health crisis, climate change, criminal justice, poverty issues, policing, housing, immigration, food insecurity. All of these things impact health outcomes, such as rates of unintended pregnancy, maternal health, and prenatal health. Together, we are committed to fighting for a world where everyone's individual personal decision about their pregnancy is respected and valued, because at Planned Parenthood, we believe deeply in the right of all people, no matter who you are, where they live, and what they earn, make their own personal decisions about their bodies, their families, and their path in life without political interference. I am so honored to be here with you tonight, and thank you so much for including Planned Parenthood in this conversation.
Thank you very much. That was beautiful. Well said. You know, you mentioned a lot of things that were so important, especially in thinking about intersectionality, right? And the fact that even for us, as women, when we think of, the ways that the impact that intersectionality have in all of our lives, right? For most of us, not only are we just women, but we're women of color, we're women of, we're mothers. We experience different things in our lives. So for most of us, it isn't just that one thing. It's not that one part of our identity. So I appreciate that you mentioned that and how important that was. So for our next speaker of the night, we have Angela Bannerman Ankara. Makoma. I'm missing an entire M here. Coma. All right, I thank you. I appreciate the fact that you're so patient. All right, she is the Vice President, the Executive Director of Equity Leadership at Rhode Island Foundation, which oversees the professional development leadership of leaders of color in Rhode Island. Do you see her slowly coming?
Yeah.
I'm gonna take my packet and just say she's another beautiful woman here. So thank you very much for having me here this evening. Aniece and Hope and Change for organizing a 6th annual Reflecting and Celebrating Women. And I know that I'm in good company. You know, as I was thinking about this evening, about women and celebrating women, I love women because I'm a woman, right? But also I was thinking about my grandmother, right? My grandmother had 11 children. Imagine that. 8 girls. 8 women. And so, if you want to get an idea of what it's like to be in a strong household, come to a family function, right? And interestingly enough, in terms of, let me pause a second and talk about the birth order. My grandmother had a son, 8 girls in a row, and 2 more boys. I'm like, that's all about persistence, right? And I grew up in a single-parent household with 3 girls, and I'm the mother to 2 girls. And so, women and empowering women is essentially part of my DNA. So thank you. This is really meaningful to me. And I'm in good company today with Lieutenant Governor Sabina Matos, Gretchen Raffa, Gazmine. Pleasure to meet you. I've read about you. Looking forward to chatting with you a little bit afterwards. And it's nice to have men join us too, Secretary of State. So Women's History Month is an incredible opportunity to pause and reflect on the incredible power of women and lift each other up. This year's theme, Embracing Equity, when Aniece shared this topic with me, I had a couple of weeks to reflect on it and the importance of embracing equity. And as I was thinking about this topic, I started reflecting on what's at stake if we don't embrace equity. So I thought I'd start my chat today with talking to you about inequality and how does it harm women. First, gender inequality has long-lasting consequences for not only women and other marginalized genders, it impacts every single one of us. And so, gender equity, because gender equity affects how somebody feels and their biological characteristics, anyone who identifies with a gender that in a society that is deemed less valuable can experience gender discrimination. And research in 2020, which women were reported to experience gender discrimination in the past 12 months, scored highly than others on depression screening tool. And depending on the situation, facing discrimination can result in anxiety. And some of the research also says gender discrimination plays a critical role in the rates of mental illness. Women experience higher rates of the most common mental illness conditions, including depression, anxiety, post-traumatic stress disorder, these eating disorders, which are 4 times more prevalent in women. Women also are 1.5 times more likely to anticipate suicide than men, although men are more likely to die. And when we talk a little bit about illness, research has suggested that experience of discrimination related to women is often worse than physical health. For example, in a 2018 study found that women who experience discrimination at work are more likely to report physical health, and particularly women who experience sexual harassment. Stress from any source can also contribute to many chronic conditions and is well documented in terms of chronic pain, hypertension, and diabetes. Women and girls also face higher risks of gender violence in their homes, at work, and in public places. Their voice in agency is often lower than that of males, whether it's within the household, at work, or in national institutions. This also affects their children. For example, children of young, poorly educated mothers often face higher risk of dying by age 5, being malnourished and doing poorly in school. Fundamentally, gender equity disempowers women and girls in ways that deprive them of their basic human rights. And the lack of opportunities for girls and an economic cost for them is not only for their households and countries achieving gender, it's not only also for their households and countries achieving gender equity would also dramatically benefit the welfare agency. This in turn
would benefit their households and their communities. So essentially, Help a Woman helps all of us. It will reduce fertility in countries with hyperpopulation growth, as well as reduce undefined mortality, stunting, thereby contribute ushering the demographic transition and the associated benefits of the demographic divide. In health outcomes, even when we're seen in health settings, doctors often are more likely to view women's chronic pain as psychological, exaggerated, made up in comparison to men's pain. This can leave people without support or treatment. Prejudices about gender can result in people getting incorrect diagnoses or having to wait years. For example, in a 2020 article found that it takes doctors 6.5 months longer to diagnose moderate hemophilia in females than in males, 39 months longer to diagnose severe hemophilia. This is despite the fact that females are more likely to notice symptoms of bleeding disorders. So let's talk about how this impacts economically. Disparities between women and men's wages in the United States hinders economic growth by constraining families and spending power. When comparing to full-time work, year-round work, incomes of men and women, research indicates that only 80% of men's wages, a gap that is even higher when you consider race. While the majority of women suffer from unequal wages, the persistence of gender inequality affects low-income women, single women, and women of color. So while female workforce has increased over the past 4 decades, women have fewer years of work experience compared to their male counterparts because women continue to provide for the majority of unpaid child care for the elders and family members. Anyone, I walked in a few minutes later, anyone want to guess what I was doing? Caring for my kids. And so, I thought it was kind of humorous, and I'm thinking about that. So I was walking into this building, like, I'm caring, we work, we care for kids, and a lot of that is not recognized within our systems. And so policy supporting workers' access to paid family leave hold the potential to not only increase wages, but also allow them to stay connected to the workforce, thus reducing the work experience gap between men and women. So now that we talk about inequality, we talked about women in general, the burden is not uniform amongst all women. Women of color are disproportionately burdened in terms of issues of systemic racism and oppression. As a group, women of color can earn less than their white female peers, a reality that means that they work longer to earn the same pay as white women, and even longer to match the earnings of white men. The gender and race gap affects families of color with long-term consequences that hinder health. For example, Latino workers have to work 10 months into a year to be paid the same amount as a white male. Unfortunately, Hispanic women are also subject to double pay gap, the ethnic pay gap and the gender pay gap. On average, Latino workers are only paid 67 cents on the dollar compared to non-Hispanic white men, even after controlling for education, years, experience, and location. And this affects everyone in the family, particularly families of color, forcing them to choose between putting food on their table, saving for a college education, or retirement. On average, African American women working full-time loses the equivalent of 18 weeks of food each year due to the wage gap. A Latino woman loses 154 weeks of food. And these indicators are stubbornly persistent. And this also impacts millennial women as well too. So, immigrant women also face economic barriers. These barriers are least economically secure. They are the least economically secure in the United States. It puts them at another disadvantage. These barriers include realities of having a language and culture barriers, the complexity of the immigration status, responsibility of caring for extended family members, working in low-paid jobs, and lacking eligibility for many of our public benefits. I can't tell you how many times, actually recent as yesterday, someone talked to me about immigrant women who weren't immigrant and or undocumented women who weren't allowed to get some of the benefits that were given to everyone during the pandemic. There are approximately 4 million undocumented immigrant women living and working in the United States, but because of their immigration status, they work with the lowest paid jobs in the country. So now let's talk about our democracy. It is well documented that Black women are very active politically. Black women have played pivotal roles in voter mobilization, voter turnout for years. More than 2/3 of Black women turned out to vote in the 2020 presidential election, the third highest rate of any race group. Now, with Black women are a powerful force in American democracy, and yet, while it's well recognized that Black women, and we play a political role actively, we have yet to hold seats in the same offices that we elect people into. For example, there has never been a Black woman governor in this country. I'll bring it closer home. We have yet to elect a Black woman leader a Black woman in the state elected office of Rhode Island. I'll bring it even closer to home. We have never elected a Black woman of a municipality in the state of Rhode Island. I just want to remind you, it's 2023. So inequality among Indigenous women manifests the same way in the market, with limited access to Social Security, healthcare systems, higher rates of literacy. Income inequality is also greatest among Asians. From 1970 to 2016, the gap in the standard of living between Asians near the top and the bottom of the income ladder nearly doubled, and the distribution of income among Asians transformed from being one of the most equal to being the most unequal in the United States of any age group. So now that I've inundated you with all the ways in which, some of the ways in which inequality harms us, especially women of color, so what? Now what? What do we do? So what can we do to address it? One, we need to increase women's representation in leadership and decision-making positions, to redistribute and also to redistribute care work and productive resources to gender equity and sustainable future start with taking action today. Also, supporting women leadership, support women in leadership, support women in leadership, and really support women of color in leadership. Fund women's organizations. Invest in care. The global economy depends on the unpaid and underpaid work here, primarily carried out by women. We know some of the lowest paid jobs are carried out by women. We're in the State House right now. I bet you many of the bills are supporting, many of the bills can address these issues in terms of supporting underpaid workforces and other issues. And lastly, luckily, with Gretchen Raffa, who talked about protecting women's health, right? And evidence suggests that women will bear the burden of negative health consequences and we must try at all costs to protect women's health. And so I'll close and leave you with a quote by First Lady, Michelle Obama. And no country says, no country can fully flourish if it stifles the potential of women and deprives itself of the contribution of half of its citizens. Thank you.
Now, she said something a couple times, I might have missed it. Was it support women in, would you support women?
Support women.
Support women.
And to really support women of color.
All right. I just want to be sure I heard that correctly because she said it several times. Okay, I broke this thing.
I thought I did too.
Oh,
it's
you broke
it's
it.
a time.
Okay. I didn't break it. All right, I think it's just, if I move it this way, I think I got it. All right, perfect. All right, thank you for that. That was beautiful. Yeah, support women in leadership. You know, you saying that also made me think about something else, right? Made me think about communities and the fact that the support, I love the fact that when we're here, every time I've had the opportunity to be here, not only do we have a great group of women who show up to support this, we also have a few men in the crowd who also come to support this as well. And I do think whatever work we do and we think about communities, we really can't do the work alone. So it always is so important to have allies that are in that work with us as well. And so I'm always excited for that. If you came in a little bit late, you may have missed Miss Carine Paul, who sang a beautiful song for us earlier today. And she did such a wonderful job. We want to have her back in encore, please.
Thank you so much, Carine Paul. Carine is also a member of the Convention for Haiti, so she always helping. And I want to thank the board member of Convention for Haiti who helped to put this together. It's not easy, you know, everybody's working, we are enjoying this, it's a voluntary work, but it's so special for us celebrate International Women's Day. Even though we do not have a big number, but you all here are so special to us. And thank you for all of you always there. We always show up for us. We appreciate that. Thank you so much, Secretary Amore, for staying with us. And our supporter, Steve, Pam, always there for us. Our friend, Anthony, Patricia, always. And I cannot call everybody, but you know how much we appreciate you, how much when you show up for us, it means a lot to us. We want to thank our speakers. We are a small organization, I will say that, but we have big speaker, right? Big speaker, Angela. Thank you so much, Angela. Thank you, Gretchen, for being here and for answering the call. We have some refreshment to share with you. So outside water, some patient, pate, some patient Rio. So go serve yourself, thank you, and we give you for next week for International